Maths is awesome, maths is fun, maths is there for everyone.
Welcome back to another exciting maths class. Today we're going to be looking at some more geometry. This is stuff that we have seen before. The first thing we're looking at are corresponding angles. Now, corresponding angles require some parallel lines. I'll put some arrowheads on it that makes the lines parallel. I need a line going through them, that makes my transversal. And remember, with corresponding angles, I'm looking for a shape that is an F type of shape, which means the angles underneath the arms of the F are the same. Now remember that F could be upside down or backwards, but it's in there. There's different ways it could happen. Alternate angles, parallel lines. And with alternate angles, we're looking for a Z shape. And with the Z shape, our two angles are the same or they are equal. And remember, the Z could be backwards or it could be forwards. Co-interior angles, I need to have my parallel lines with my transversal. And co-interior angles, I need my C shape. And there are two angles inside the C shape, and both of those angles plus together to give 180 degrees. Now we've seen that before, we're going to apply it. So let's get into our examples. Example number 2. If I look at example number 2, hopefully you can see that I've got an upside down and backward F shape, which means the two angles underneath there are the same. So A equals 100. Why? Because they are corresponding angles. That's what the F shape means. Let's go to our next one. Well, with our next one, it's a weird one. If you look at it sort of sideways, it's a backward sort of Z that looks a bit weird, but that means that this angle and this angle are equal. So A equals 120. And what's the reason? They're alternate angles. We go to part C. And I can see a backward square C shape, which means A and 64 both plus to give 180. Why? Because they are co-interior angles. That's minus 64 to both sides. And that will give us A equals 116 degrees. Let's go to part D. Now with part D, it's a bit trickier to look at because there's more letters. There's an A, a B and a C. Now the easiest one to find, well, there's two that are really easy to find, and that's A and B. So let's do A first because A is the first letter in the alphabet. If I come down here, I can see a backward F shape, which means this angle and this angle are the same. So I can say A equals 70 degrees. Why? Well, the F shape was used and they are corresponding angles when you're using the F shape. So let's clear the diagram there and let's now have a look at it. Now I could look and use the Z shape and say that those two angles are the same, so B equals 70 degrees. I do know B equals 70 degrees, but I need to give a reason for it, and the reason is alternate. Now I could say that. I could have also done this. I could have said that because I've got two lines that cross, these two angles are opposite, so A and B are the same. If I knew A was 70, B has to be 70 because they are vertically opposite. But I went with the alternate on that logic there. Now for our last angle, C, there's several ways you could do this. I could look for backward C shape, which means that this angle and this angle both plus together, so C and 70 both plus together to give 180. Why? Because they are co-interior. And if they're co-interior, I need to minus 70 to both sides. C equals 110 degrees. Now there's actually several ways you can do those questions. I've shown you one way. Let's go to part E. Similar concept. We need to try and do it as quickly as possible. Let's do the A letter first. If I look along here, I can see an F shape, which means I've got A and 120 are equal. So A is 120 degrees. F shape means I use the rule for corresponding angles. That's why they're equal, because they are corresponding. I could have also looked at B and said, I've got two lines that cross each other, so those two angles are vertically opposite. So B and 120 are the same. Why are they the same? They're vertically opposite. Notice I got a bit lazy. I didn't write the full word vertically or the full word opposite. That's okay. I'll accept that, vert op. I'll even accept just op. Now the last one can be done lots of different ways as well. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to say I've got parallel lines. There's a C shape, which means B and C have to add up to give 180. So B and C add to give 180. But I know what B is. B is 120. So it's 120 plus C is 180. Now, why were they adding up to 180? I use the C shape. They're co-interior. I need to give my reason. Let's minus 120 to both sides. So C equals 60. 180 take 120 is 60. The next one, part F. Now, part F is a bit trickier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write 119 there. Why are they both 119? They're both 119 because they are vertically opposite. So I'm actually going to write that reason there. Now, I can look at my F shape. So 119 and B are the same. So I could say B equals 119 degrees using the F shape, which is corresponding. You can't write F shape or Z shape or C shape. You have to write the correct word. And let's clear a bit of space again. Now, oops, I've rubbed out the 119. I'll put that back. Now if I look at the question, I can see my parallel lines. I can see a C shape, which means that the two angles A and 119 add to give 180. And C shapes are co-interior. So I'm going to use the co-interior angles. Let's minus 119 to both sides. And that'll give me A equals 61 degrees. So I now know A and B. Let's go to our third example. With our third example, I've got some parallel sides. There's one parallel side, there's another one, there's a line down there, so there's a C shape, which means that my two angles plus to give A and 115, they plus to give 180. Because of the C shape, that's co-interior. That's minus 115 to both sides. So I get 180 take away 115, which is 65. When I look at part B, I can see two parallel lines. There's a line passing through them. There's an upside down and backward F shape. So those two angles are equal. So A equals 62 degrees. F shape is corresponding. So the reason they're equal is that it's corresponding. For part C, there's one parallel line, there's another parallel line. If I join that line there, I can see a Z shape. So those two angles are equal. If it's a Z shape, A equals 42 degrees because they are alternate. Z shape means using the alternate angles. Our last example, if I look at my parallel lines, there's two parallel lines, there's a line joining them. I now have B and 50 are equal. So B equals 50 degrees. Why? Because they are alternate angles. I've also got parallel line going up like that, which means I've got 25 and A equal to each other. So A equals 25, and I used a different Z shape, but it's still 25, and it's still alternate. So, time for you to try doing some questions from your workbook. As always, enjoy, and if you don't understand anything, please let me know.